A good early evening from Florida. This is Marcia. It's a very soggy Tuesday afternoon here. It's been soggy all day since early this morning. And I had an appointment with my chiropractor this morning. I go every month for a little tune-up, and it helps me a lot keep my hips and spine aligned back there where my sacrum is. And I was going to do a little bit of work outside there at the place because I do a little curbside appeal cleanup for him. So as well as him being my chiropractor, he's also a customer, a friend. So that's kind of cool. But I got rained out, and it's a soggy day, and my foot is soggy. My left foot is quite swollen, and not as bad as it was, but it's swollen. Fluid buildup. And so, Qigong's a funny thing. People ask, what is Qigong? And I've heard answers like, it's the study of our life force, our energy. And so, yeah, I can relate to that. And, in fact, maybe even a little bit more. And I'm sure a lot less than other people. So we have a spectrum there. And when I ask a question like that, I have to put it into context. Because if you were around when Qigong was created and first growing and being developed centuries and centuries ago, to hear an answer like it's the study of our life energy, it wouldn't make any sense at all. Because, think about the time. There was no electricity. We didn't have physics, the science of how. So, if I look at that with that thought in mind, I might go, all right, well, I have to put it in perspective. What lens am I going to look through? And so, what was around back then? Nature. They had the elements, wind, water, earth, fire, and they had different animals that moved different ways, snakes, and birds, lions and tigers and bears, oh my. But anyway, they didn't consider it as energy. They probably thought, oh, it's a stream, it's like a stream. We always use metaphors. See, the thing about Qigong is you can't put it in a box. You can't put energy in a box. What happens? I don't know. Ask Schrodinger's cat. Always, one of the best answers in life I've learned at the age of 65 now, old enough to retire, but having trouble relating to what that concept means. One of the best answers I know is, I don't know. I don't know. You know what happens when that's my answer? I ask a better question. So it's a process, and like a stream of consciousness, a river of thought, a wave of potential. There's all these metaphors and ways of describing this thing. So if I consider how old it was, and try to relate it to terms that are familiar to me, I can draw similarities and comparisons. And the thing about it is, energy, it's always changing. That's the nature of energy. And it can be a little ball of matter, like an electron or a photon, and those two work identically the same. An electron works just like a photon, which is a little ball of light. And perhaps that's why I love photons, and I'm a photographer and an X-ray tech retired. It's energy, and it's matter. It's a little ball of matter, an electron, and it's a wave of potential and possibility, and it's both of these things at the same time. It's an answer, it's a question, and I can't tell you which came first, because right now, right here, it simply is. And so there's, radiance, or deep further down the rabbit hole, or, there's all these expressions. It can't really be defined except by our own personal experience. So, if we go back to the question, what is Qigong, and we understand that it's about energy and how energy works, and we consider it's like a stream, well, then it's a wave, it's a river. Rivers have currents, they flow. Waves, they ebb and flow. There's cycles. There's long waves and short waves and all of these things in between. And at the same time, they're little balls of matter. So we can't really explain how that happens. It just comes back to the fact that if we decide to see it as a river and we want to answer the question to get a better answer, which gives us yet a better question, we have to step into the river. We have to make ripples. And the thing is, we make ripples anyway. A bunch of electrons bumping around into each other, making waves, and sometimes they connect and make a bigger wave. Sometimes they bounce off of each other and cancel each other out. And so there's all these gradients in between, and it's like analog. You can't really measure it. And we've become a digital age, 0 or 1, black or white. And okay, these work, and we've done amazing things with technology and our knowledge these days. But Qigong is about the experience, and the experience is a personal thing of stepping into your river of energy and trusting the process, seeing, feeling, listening. So let me ask y'all a question now. I've heard a lot of people say that a good thing to do before you really start getting into, doing moves in Qigong is we should warm up. And so you can bounce, and you can shake, and you can wiggle, relax, just shake, bounce. And let me ask you a question. If I'm busy shaking my wrist, how can I possibly relax it? I'm using muscles to do it. It's a fair question, isn't it? And so again, if we go back to the idea of energy and a river, and we see there's a tightening, a blocking, constricting, because we're using these muscles, this energy, and I want to loosen it, well, how do I do that? How do I do that? Think about the river, the energy, the channels. I told you about one, the front one, functional. I've also heard it called the conceptual channel, governor channel. So if I want to shake the tension out of my wrists, I can't move my wrists. If I want them to shake, let me go up the river a little. I can shake wiggle my elbows and shake my elbows, and look what happens. My wrists are all wobbly, relaxed, and it's actually my elbows doing it. And if I want to relax further, then I can, wiggle my shoulders. And my elbows can bounce. As a result, then there's a wave that my fingers too can bounce. So there's waves of energy. And that's what I'm talking about. And so back to this soggy day and my soggy foot, which has been something I've been dealing with here. It's been my, it's one of my teachers would call it my little health project right now. Excuse me, my left foot is quite swollen, like a soaked up sponge. You can feel all this fluid in there. And I mean, all right, that's where it is, down here. Okay, that is the effect. So, again, the shift, we're talking about streams of energy and life force. If the blockage and the swelling is down here, well, what's causing that? So, it's the cause, not the effect. So, maybe my energy needs clearing somewhere else. Here in my heart, there's a pump, circulation. Maybe it's an area here that there's a blockage in my blood vessel. Iliac artery, maybe. I mean, I know enough about modern medicine to be dangerous. I was an X-ray tech in a trauma 1 ER, and people would often ask me, so what do you see? And by law, I was not allowed to answer. I took, national boards, the code of ethics, all this stuff. And so my answer would be, I don't know. That's a good question for your doctor. I know enough to be dangerous. So, energy. I know enough to respect it, to listen to people who maybe have had more experience swimming in the river, playing in the river, splashing, bathing, rinsing, washing, whatever in the river. And so again, if we look at it through the lens of what's around us, then what's around me? We start, if we're not in the river, there is no energy. It's still. Inertia. But once you get it going, first you have to be aware of it. So you need to be still so you can start feeling it. Like, okay, wow, I felt that tree that fell across the river upstream and it blocked the flow down here. And then I didn't know what that was at the time. I just felt something. Maybe I really didn't even feel the vibration, but inside I did. This invisible thing that I didn't see happened, and thus the result. The cause was up there. The result is down here in my feet. So I have to be open-minded enough to ask good questions. And the only way I know to ask good questions is to start with the answers I have around me. And you know what? The best answer in so many cases has been, I don't know. Let's check it out. So I'm gonna go do some more Qigong and Tai Chi to get some circulation going. I'm keeping a close eye. My right foot that got punctured by my dog is actually doing quite nicely. My right foot isn't even swollen now, and it doesn't really hurt, but there's still 2 little puncture holes. It hasn't healed entirely, but it's nothing now like my left foot, which was nothing to begin with. It was my right foot that had the injury, and now, as a result, from stuff upstream, perhaps, my left foot. And so I need to go ask better questions from people who have more knowledge than I do, which means I have an appointment to go see my cardiologist Thursday. So that's what's up with that. But in the meantime, I'm doing everything I know I'm doing the next right thing. And if I'm not quite sure what that is, I just do the next thing right. And you know what? That's a pretty happy place to be and to live with that kind of attitude. So there you have it, my update. I'm going to go practice some more, and gentle currents to you, my friends.